everybody, welcome back to Sharon Cullen Art. Yes, I'm wearing the same thing that I had on in the last video because it is about 30 seconds later and I'm doing the intro for the new video before I start painting. Otherwise, then I have to do it on another day and I hate doing that. So today, what we will be doing is I am going to go ahead and start my Zeta sketchbook by Stillman and Byrne. I told you in that last video, my last flip through video, not the big one, the perfect sketchbook one, but the one prior to that, the Strathmore one, the smaller one. I told you that I didn't like the binding on this, and I still don't. I wish it was a soft binding, or I wish I could just pull the cardboard out, but I can't. It's a well-made book, but it just, the pages will lay flat, but or almost flat. Some of them don't. This one is, but this is the sewn page. You can see the string on it. But some of them lay flat. No, you don't need that paper towel, honey. But others do not. And then I don't like that I'm going to need to put a support under my book in order to hold this part still at the same level this part is. So that's it, but I'm going to paint in it. I'm excited about the paper. We'll see how it works. It is mixed media paper, 270 GSM, which is probably about 120 pound paper. It is very thick, almost like Bristol paper. Very, very smooth, even smoother than Bristol paper, I would say. So it'll be good for mixed media. I'm going to use pen in here. I'm going to use my fountain pen in here. I'll be using colored pencil in here. I'm going to try watercolor very carefully. I don't know how well it'll spread across the paper, so that could be an issue. I like when my watercolor flows across the paper, and the sizing is probably different on this though. And I also bought this so that I had a book for gouache that was less expensive than the Perfect Sketchbook. Still, this one is not 100% cotton, I don't believe. Yes, the Strathmore book that I bought. The pages, although they're white, are not as bright white as these pages. You can see a difference, a little difference in the color. But this one will have the same, I thought it was a lay flat book, but it also, even though it's soft, has the same problem as the Zeta book does. Is it a mixed media book thing? I don't know. I just don't understand why they do that. But anyway, this one is only 90 pound, but it's 100% cotton. This one is cellulose paper, but it's 120 pound. So we'll see how it works. I have no clue. So we're going to do the first page, and what I think I'm going to do on this, well, let's just turn the camera around. I'll start, and I will explain what I'm doing. Let's get started. What are you doing, mister? Are you going to sit right in my painting spot the whole time? Huh? Notice he's got his ears up now. The last 2 days he's had them up probably 90% of the time. Sometimes when he gets tired, his left ear starts to droop. But the one on the right, this one, was folding back before, and it's still got a little bit of a tip to it, but he's doing really good with his ears. So, Tully, come sit. You got to come sit. I don't want you drinking that water or anything. Let's get started, shall we? I started this out by explaining what I was doing with my sketch, but I'm not going to do that. I really want to get back to the question that I asked you all in my last video and also over on Instagram, how you felt about starting a new sketchbook. And I wanted to read a few comments and then tell you my thoughts on those. The first one, I had permission from him, and then I thought, you know, these are public comments anyway. You could go over and read them on YouTube, so I'm not worried about saying them here. This first one says, Sharon, I like the way you approach the question of how you use a sketchbook. You have some pretty darn decent finished pieces in it naturally, but you also use it for experiments that can be discarded if they're not working out or taken to completion if they are. There are also the workaday swatches, etc., which have their place too. I think this aspect of using the sketchbook as a working tool rather than as a repository of our quote unquote polished work is something many of us struggle with. The problem of the first page symbolizes this struggle best, of course. You ask in the video if we all describe our approach to starting a new sketchbook, and I have to say, I find it extremely daunting. It's almost as if that first page will irrevocably set the tone for the whole book, and thus it becomes a momentous decision-making problem. I'm toying with the idea of overcoming this by deliberately creating a mess of the first page in some anarchic fashion, thus forever discarding any sense of preciousness for that and all subsequent pages. I'll shortly be starting one of my new cotton sketchbooks, and I might use this as a way of getting over the problem of the first page. In the meantime, thanks again for a video to enjoy. He's got a great idea. Just doing whatever, making a mess of that first page, and then you've overcome the problem. You can also do the classic, sketch your supplies thing that a lot of us do. Another thing that I used to do was splash watercolor all over the first page, quite like him, making a mess, like he says. But then I get a quote from an artist that I really admire, or you could use a Bible scripture or any quote that just makes you feel good, that inspires you, and put it on the first page. Use a ruler. You can put in some lines or make a wiggly line and write all along that line or in a circle and go around and around and do your quote that way. You've finished your first page. Then go on to the next page and you're off to the races. Which brings me to another comment that says, I'm always afraid to start the first page, but after it is done, I'm off to the races. Then I just let loose and do whatever makes me happy. But then I received this other comment, and it made me sad. It says, Oh, Sharon, I'm so pleased you asked how do we feel. I have bought lots of sketchbooks that people like you have recommended and not started any of them. I'm scared that I'm going to spoil them. I'm a novice. I just keep them all in cupboards, and it's no good someone saying, just paint or draw what's in front of you, etc. I get so anxious, and my tummy feels like I'm going to be ill, so it's much easier to just leave them tucked away. I watch you and other artists and would love to overcome the anxiety, but I can't. My challenge to you, Irene, is that yes, you can overcome that anxiety, and I challenge you to do it, and here's how. I want you to go to that cupboard. I want you to pick up any one of those sketchbooks, maybe the one that's least precious to you, and none of them should be precious until there's something in them anyway. They're just a bunch of notepads, basically, sitting in your cupboards, not getting used at all. They're just paper. There's nothing to them. So pick one. And what I want you to do on that first page is very simple. I want you to write your name, and then I want you to write, if found, please return to, and put either your email or your phone number in there. Then I want you to pull out your watercolor palette and your brush and some water, and I want you to swatch that watercolor palette on your first page. I want you to put a little mark of each watercolor you have in there, make a chart, and I want you to write the name of the watercolor next to, underneath, on top of, or right on the color, whatever you want to do. Just do that. Make a chart of your watercolors on that first page, and you're done. You've started your sketchbook. Then on the next page, you might want to just put some pen marks or pull out some other supplies and make swatches of those. If you have watercolor pencils or Neocolor 2 crayons or whatever the case may be, you can swatch those, and then you've filled another page. Now, there's nothing to worry about with that sketchbook. Now just start drawing and draw whatever you feel. What do you like to draw? Do you like landscapes? Do you like drawing animals, people, rooms, architecture, plants? Whatever it is, I want you to do that. Every day, take a page and do something in it. You can also look up online prompts for your watercolor sketchbooks, and every day use one of those prompts to inspire you to draw whatever it is that you're feeling in that moment. Please do that and let me know how it goes. Now, even on this first page that I've done, I've messed up. Over on that left-hand side where I put all that acrylic gouache and I'm trying to put paint on and it's just kind of not sticking because acrylic is plastic and I'm using watercolor. I messed up that side, but I just covered it up with the white gouache and I'm fading that side of my painting out, trying to make it look like I planned it that way. I didn't plan it that way, and I messed up the inside of the architecture too. And when you see at the end what I do with my pen sketching, that I forgot, well, I didn't forget, I was unable to record that portion of the video because I wasn't in my studio, but I put pen hatch marks down, and the front door area, that wood that's supposed to be over the front door, I've totally changed that perspective, and then it looks round like a tire. But I don't care. You know, it's no big deal. Some people asked me, oh, is that Baggins' house from Lord of the Rings? And I was like, wow, they actually knew what I was painting. But it's such a classic picture. So most people that have watched Lord of the Rings know that. But yeah, I messed it up completely. Do I care? I'm showing it publicly on YouTube. I show you guys my mess ups all the time.
But after it's
nothing
done,
to be
I'm off
ashamed
to the
of.
races. Then I
If
just
you never make
let
mistakes,
loose and
you
do
never
whatever
progress.
makes me happy.
So go ahead
That's a
and make
great
mistakes in your sketchbooks. Do tutorials in your sketchbooks. Anything like that. Just do it in your sketchbook. Maybe break it down. If you like landscapes, maybe break it down and just put the grasses and plants growing around a tree trunk and just the bottom of a tree trunk. Maybe just paint one single tree. Practice pine trees. Practice deciduous trees. Practice ground cover. That's what I'm going to be doing on my next page of my sketchbook. Not the next page, but I have a lot of pages in there now. But the page that I'm planning to practice today, I watched somebody painting something with gouache that really inspired me. And I thought, well, what the heck? I'm going to do my next page of my sketchbook this way and just practice it. It's probably going to look like crap, but I don't care because it's just a sketchbook. There's nothing precious about them. They're just pieces of paper to practice on. So keep that in your mind. They're just pieces of paper to practice on. This is not a gallery painting that I'm doing in this book. Now, granted, there are people like James Gurney and other artists that paint in sketchbooks, and their books are books that are published and you can purchase them on the internet. That's not what I'm talking about. Most people keep a sketchbook for practice. And that's what I want you to do, is keep them just for practice, and don't worry about that first page. If it's a big problem for you, start in the middle of the book or start on the last page and work forward. You don't have to go front to back in chronological order. That's just how I like to do things, but you don't have to do it that way. Do what you feel. I showed you everything in my last two sketchbooks. I really didn't have to. I could have only shown you the good things, but there wouldn't have been much to show you then, would there? Just covering up my phone number there, but this is it. This is my opening page, and it wasn't a quick sketch, but it ended up looking very loose, and I kind of like the loose look of it. So anyway, that's it, you guys. So remember, be courageous, paint with wild abandon, and most of all, be kind to each other. Take care. God bless you. Love you guys. Bye-bye.